All right, and let me get everybody situated on the seating chart. Okay. Tell me your name right here. I'm going to ask. Tell me your name real quick. Griffin Eli. I got to put the seating chart together in case somebody gets sick. You might have heard there's an illness going around. All right. Time. John, I'm going to have you move back a desk, okay? I'm going to have you move back a desk, okay? Just for everyone's safety. Hey. There you go, man. Thank you. All right. And then so John's back. Yes. Okay. And then got Sarah. All right. Okay, and Shay, you're back. Okay, that's Shay right there. I'm gonna get to know everybody here. All right. Grant, you're right there. Okay. I can't say who's behind. What? Tell me your name. Right behind Grant. Yeah, behind Grant. Natalie. Thank you. Sorry. Natalie. And then Murphy, you're in the back. Okay, tell me your name again. Just over here. Pete Blatchy. Okay, gotcha.
They say it. I mean, it's in like some cheap states.
And Aiden's back there.
I don't know if you can just do this too.
Okay.
No, like, you just like keep them in the spray little can, just like spam. Like, you can just use that. You got spam? Instead of frying the line. I got like 10 cans spam like this. It's not around. It's good. You go to Hawaii, yeah, yeah. And they have access to like, yeah, gold pineapples. You gauge the consistency of the boy. So 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers.
All right. And so we'll put,
It's really, it looks disgusting. It looks like you were crabby on Monday, but it's the same crabby place. So it's great. Yes, yes, it looks like that. I don't know where Thanksgiving feast went. Probably makes her turn, but I'm not hopeful. My grandma brought me over a wild meal. What was this? One like extremely large Thanksgiving stuffing and chocolate mousse. That must be pretty good. Probably have something figured out from now. Yeah. Wild metaphors. That's a shame. I really felt poor. It's just pretty bad. So that's just people in there. I guess also.
You just can't welcome you still. No, I mean like.
let's see.
That's just working. It's a working business. It's a tired man. You come from the mud and you're not Alexis because you know what's up. You never tired of that. I'm looking for it.
All right. So where you're seeing now, please come back and sit in the same place. If you don't sit in the same place, then it's kind of a domino effect of problems because someone gets sick and then they should be able to look at the seating chart and say, yeah, well, Pete sat there and he needs to be quarantined, but Pete didn't sit there, but they think, and then Pete's infected or not infected and he's quarantined, or he should be or shouldn't be, and it's a big mess, okay? So I just take attendance off the list. I don't look at the seating chart, but I'm gonna trust you to sit in the same place, and please do that. I'd appreciate it. And your fellow humans would appreciate it too. All right. Okay, let me give you, and I posted this on the my cafe as well, so you can look at it there too. But I'll give you a hard copy. Thank you. So it's not too long. Just quite a bit on there about the senior seminar, which I want to talk about a little bit today too. I'm not sure how much your first quarter teacher talked about it.
Can I use the restroom anything?
Yeah.
Can you ever get the sign?
So what?
Can you get the sign?
No. You guys are past that. I don't know. That's just me.
I'm a legal adult and signed to myself.
Yeah.
I should have done that on my syllabus. Signed to myself. You know what I'm that?
Everyone get one? What you said? Okay. So, that's my info at the top. All that's good. You can, the best way to reach me, if you need to get hold of me for some reason, is by using the cashier email. So like if you're going to be gone, or like now, if you're going to be gone, like there's homesick for whatever reason, you can just email me in the morning and I'll just put you on the Zoom Actually, I use a live stream link, and in fact, we're live streaming right now. Huh? It's like we're Twitch. What do they call it? Twitch or what? Yeah, but it's like Apologetics Twitch. But anyway, so yeah. But I have another email, my private email, but that's I don't check it all the time. It's my phone number if you need to get hold of me. If it's really an emergency, please go ahead and do that. If I don't answer, you can text that number too. Just say, hey, it's Pete Boyachi. Can you call me back? All right. Good. So this course will formulate the rational basis for believing in Christian theism. So the class is titled Christian Apologetics, and we'll focus in many places on Catholic apologetics, but in most places, Catholic apologetics is also Christian apologetics. I mean, in general, Christian apologetics. Responses, objections, critiques of competing worldviews, and competing theological views. Apologetics is the study of how to give reason for our Christian hope, coming from 1 Peter 3:15. Always be ready, and we'll read more about some of it, always be ready to give reason of the hope that is in you. And then in Acts, Paul, as was his custom, went into them and for 3 Sabbaths reasoned with them from the scriptures, as the Christ had to suffer and rise again from the dead, and saying, this Jesus whom I preach to you is the Christ. And some of them were persuaded from reason. The text I'll talk about in a minute. You already got a copy of it. It looks like this in its full form. What a mess up here. Has a nice dust jacket. Has a picture of the doubting apostle Thomas, who said, I won't believe it until I put my hands inside his wounds. Very famous painting here of him touching Jesus' wounds in his side where he was pierced by the spear. And the name of the book is Reasons to Believe. And it's kind of perfect for this class because we don't have much time, just 1/4. So it's not like there are larger, more comprehensive apologetics books. If we had a semester or a year, we could use those. But anyway, I'll say more about this in a minute. That's the text, and all of you got a copy of it. The bulk of the class is lecture. Discussion is always welcome as long as it's relevant to what we're talking about. So I'm talking about, Eucharist, and you want to talk about what happened to your dog last night, or that's not really relevant. Okay. You'll need to have something to take notes in, a spiral or a notebook with paper, something dedicated to this class, because I will be lecturing most days. So please, get a spiral. There'll be a reading schedule that I'll post as we go of what to read in the book here, and I'll get that started later today. It says Google Classroom. I don't use that. We don't use that anymore. I should change it to my Cache, but I'll post it on there as assignments, and we'll have a quiz after each one of those sections. Gradings done by total points. Yeah, you can read this here. The tests are worth 100 points, and the quizzes are worth 20 points. Some might be less or more a little bit, but generally 20 points for quizzes, 100 points for tests. Grading scale is the same as the rest of the school uses, I think. At least the rest of the senior seminar uses. Okay, about the senior seminar. I don't know how much your last teacher has told you. I don't think I said too much to my first, I keep saying last hour, last quarter. I don't think I said too much to my class about it, but this is one section of, as you can figure out today, after Christmas, you'll go to, and I assume we're not having mini-mester. Is that right? Is anyone told that? Oh, that's a real shame.
Yeah.
Who's going to tell the kids about Bigfoot then? And that we faked the moon landing. Who's going to tell them all that? This is interesting. I got to talk to him. Once Father Philip gets out of surgery, I need to talk to him. Pray for Father Philip. He's literally under the knife right now. Everyone knows that, right? Yeah, he's having a valve replaced in his heart. So it's an open heart surgery, literally. Yeah, so be thinking about him. I think the surgery started at 7 this morning, so, and I'm sure it lasts several hours. It's got to be it. Okay, So yeah, you had first quarter, whatever you had first quarter, maybe you had philosophy, maybe you had some other class, and then now you're in apologetics, and then after Christmas, if that's the way things are going to be, you're going to go to your third quarter class, which I don't know if you know, do you know already what it is? Okay. So you know that class, and then in the fourth quarter is when you won't have a first hour anymore, and so I don't know that we necessarily expect. Well, we don't. I mean, we're realists too. You know, don't expect you to be here 8 o'clock, like using that time, that exact hour of the day, to be working on a thesis. You can if you want to. You're welcome. And what's kind of evolved out of all this is that the senior seminar teachers are usually in the library during first hour. So, and you know, to me, a surprising number of seniors are there. I don't mean they're there for the whole hour. I mean, they might come in and find their teacher and ask a couple questions and go on. Some people might stay there the whole hour. Some might stay for 30 minutes. That's fine. That's fine. If you don't come in at all, that's fine too. But we generally are there in the mornings. Some teachers might say, I'm going to be there in the library first hour, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if you need to come talk to me, you know, catch me then. And as for me, I'll probably be in there every day. So during this period. So the idea though is we take a class load away from you so that you can work on your senior thesis fourth quarter. And the senior thesis is a paper, an academic paper that you're going to write based on one of the classes you've taken in senior seminar or a combination of a couple of classes. So there's certainly, hopefully, lots of lines and dots to connect between the classes, between, let's say, philosophy and apologetics. You can make some certain connections there. Or what other, who else was in, what else did you take first quarter? World religions. Okay, so apologetics and world religions. Philosophy and world religions. What else did you have? Has everyone world religions? Other than philosophy? Okay, so Gospel of John and Revelation. Who taught that? Malarkey did. Okay, yeah. I was never sure what he was doing that first hour. Son of a crazy talk. But that's Mr. Malarkey. Good. So between apologetics and that, but anyway, you can see that you could be strictly about something there, or you could pull some stuff together between the subjects. And we're pretty. I'll be honest with you. We're pretty broad in allowing you to pick a topic. So between, let's say you take some class like that, John, and Revelation, then you've got philosophy, and what are the other choices? There's another one. Marriage, okay, right, that's another one. St. Augustine's one, not you, right? Is St. Augustine one? Anyone? Anyone heard of St. Augustine before? He's a pretty big hitter here at the school, I gotta tell you. All right, I think there's an Augustine class. There must be, right? But between all of those, you're going to get a pretty broad, you know, array of topics and thoughts going on. And so we make it we're pretty flexible on you choosing a topic. So as long as it, you know, touches upon one of the classes here that you took, and we can stretch a little bit and make it work probably. I've only had a couple of topics that I've said no to. One was about, this is years ago, one was about how using like dogs in hospitals help lower people's blood pressure and made them heal and recover faster. Yeah, it sounds very interesting. But it didn't fit under any, like, it was so far off any of the topics that we had. So that kind of thing. I think that might be one of the few that I've said no to. I might have encouraged somebody to write about something else. But I don't think I ever told anyone, other than I think about that one, and maybe there's been another one that I've said no to, but because it was just so far off from any of the things that we took at all. And I even thought about the dog one for a while. I was like, well, is there some way that it fits? I couldn't think of any way it fits in. And then I was in the hospital visiting someone just last month, and I saw a freaking dog, you know, going into a room. And I was like, maybe I should have approved that. I don't know. Really? Dogs in the hospital? I can't even bring little kids up here, but dogs are okay. One of those, what do they call them? One of the dogs that has the little vest on? Service dogs. Service dogs. That's a whole new industry. Okay. What else am I going to say about that? So whatever you, so in the first semester, your first quarter class you just got done with, and this class, well, that's why we're on the same grading scale and everything. They'll combine those two averages together, and that'll be your first semester grade. In the second semester, they'll take your third quarter class and the grade you get on your senior thesis, and that'll become your your second semester grade. So fourth quarter is like a one-shot deal. Like you're going to have a few quizzes and a couple tests at least, or maybe 2 or 3 tests in this class. But the fourth quarter is just that one grade, just that one senior thesis grade. So make sure you choose a good topic. I'll just say a couple things. Make sure you choose a topic that you're actually somewhat interested in. There's nothing worse than writing a paper and then you're really getting into the grind of it, and then you just hate this topic. Like you're not really that interested in it. That makes it difficult to kind of move forward or really make any progress. So make sure it's something you're interested in, and make sure it's something that you can definitely find sources for. Our library is somewhat limited, but we have lots of interlibrary loan, but you got to work ahead for that because, and I don't know how that's working now with COVID. I would assume it's still working, but passing things around like that from library to library might be somewhat limited. But they have all these databases you can use, but the paper, the senior thesis will, you can't use newspapers or magazines, blog articles, website stuff. Internet's pretty much out unless it's online. Academic journals, some of those things are online. A lot of legal stuff is online. A lot of citations you can make from cases, and a lot of that's online. Those are also in journal form, but it's not, you can't use Newsweek or New York Times or that kind of stuff. So it's, and it really has to be books, published books, and journals are the main two things. We do make some exceptions a little bit on that. If you're doing like and just forget that I said this after I'm done saying it, because it's a little bit limited, but if you were doing like after 9/11, a lot of people want to do things on Islamic terror. Well, there wasn't a whole lot written there. It takes a while to get a book published. It doesn't just happen overnight. And there were some things, things like kind of really contemporary, very timely things that there hasn't been a lot of book published or peer-reviewed type articles done yet. And so if it's something like that, like for instance, if you wrote something about COVID, or that would be, maybe we might, stretch it a little bit, but that's the exception. Something else I want to say about it's 10 pages. I know that. Oh yeah. And probably in January, if not in December, we'll stay after chapel, or we'll go to chapel one morning and we'll stay and we will hand out a packet that tells you all the rules, all the details about the senior thesis, right down to what fonts you can use and what spacing and what, margins and all that. And it's really just the same rules as the English department. It's just copy and pasted from that. And also about, sourcing and what you can use, what you can't use. But that way everybody hears the same thing at the same time. Nobody can come back later and say, that's not what everyone gets the same pieces of paper, and here's the same lecture from everybody. So no one, thinks later, oh, someone told me. Yeah, well, I had a student, this is a number of years ago, turned her paper in, and it was just like her just like writing for like 10 pages. I mean, typing. Just lots of first person, just pontificating, on her own. I forget what the topic was. No sources, no footnotes, I would have taken anything. Footnotes, parenthetical citation, nothing. No endnotes, no bibliography. And I told her that she had to rewrite it, that it wasn't. And she said that Father Tack, who's passed away now, Father Tack told her she could write it that way, and I knew Father Tack was a scholar, and I said, well, take it to Father Tack, and if he approves it, then I'll accept whatever grade he gives you. And she snatched it out of my hands. I never saw her again. I'm assuming that she knew that was, don't do that. If you do get a failing grade on the test, on the senior thesis, or it's kind of faulty from the very beginning, it's going to be returned to you, and the highest grade you can get on it is a D. So do it right the first time. Put in the effort, put in the time. I don't know if it's all that hard to get a good grade on, I feel, as long as you start working on it. So one last thing, it's not too early to be thinking about a topic. I don't have a list of topics. I've told First Hour this all the time. But as we go along in class, something is said in this class or any other that's related to it, and just jot it down as, hey, that's an idea. I might want to look into that for senior thesis. I will suggest things as we go along to this class, things that can be, might make a good topic. I think I probably gave out a dozen of those in my first quarter class ideas. So we'll see if anyone comes back with that. Okay, any questions about the bigger picture? Senior seminar. Yeah, it's a weird year, isn't it?
How long is it again?
10 pages. Yeah. Okay, so Reasons to Believe, the book, How to Understand, Explain, and Defend the Catholic Faith, by Dr. Scott Hahn. And Dr. Hahn, where I did some graduate work in theology and he's a professor there actually, where I was at Franciscan University, which is in Ohio, right on my dorm room. So weird. I could look up the dorm room that's this close, and I could see the Ohio River, like right there. And then across the river, I could see more of the other state. It was West Virginia, right there. I could see more of West Virginia than I could see of Ohio out of my window, right there on the border. Anyway, I don't know why I told you that, but and then it's that little. If you look at West Virginia, it's got like this little stem that's like this narrow little panhandle. There's got to be a great reason for that, like there's got to be a good reason for why the state is shaped like that. Well, that was the little, what am I going to call it, peninsula or whatever that, that went up like that. So if you drove into West Virginia, you were only in West Virginia for like 10 minutes. And then do you know where you are then, after you pass through that? In who? Pennsylvania, yeah. And actually you're almost on the outskirts of Pittsburgh by that time. Yeah, so that's closer to Pittsburgh. If you flew there where I went, you'd probably fly to Pittsburgh. Yeah, you'd fly to Pittsburgh. Anyway, Dr. Hahn is a longtime professor there, and he is someone that I personally like very much and have gone to see him speak a number of times. He'll make it to Oklahoma every once in a while, or if he gets close to here, I'll drive to go see him. He's a pretty inspiring. He is a convert to Catholicism. He was raised a Presbyterian. Is one Presbyterian? There was a time at Pastor we had a bunch of Presbyterians, and recently no one's ever. Okay, well, he was raised at Presbyterian. He was even ordained Presbyterian minister and had his own church, and had moved around for a couple of churches even with him and his wife and their children, and then. He slowly became interested in the Catholic faith, and starting even before he became a Presbyterian minister, the seeds were planted. And he's a convert then, I don't know, probably in his, sometime in his 30s, I think he converted. And he's a very, because of his background and his knowledge of other Christian denominations and what they teach, he is a good, what we call, apologist. And so, yeah, if I wish he would come to speak here in Tulsa, we could go see him. We could all get our books signed so that you can give them back to the bookstore, I thought this was one I had signed by him, but I guess he didn't sign this one. I've got a couple that yeah, interesting guy. And we'll watch a couple of, along the way, there's actually kind of a video series with this, and we'll watch a couple of those as we go along here. So I'm just going to say one last thing, and everyone get this down, days of the week in German, and the months. Look at these months in German. Look how close this is to English. Look at this. Look at this. Just one letter off. Oh, that perfectly, one letter off. Perfect. Isn't that crazy? All of you took different languages thinking, oh, okay, maybe more like English. German. It's too late now. You've made your mistakes. I know you've already seen the error of your ways, and I'm just rubbing your nose in it. I'm sorry, but okay. So this word, apologetics, sounds kind of funny. And I'm just going to say just a couple things about this. So if you were in my first quarter, you already know this, because we actually read a short dialogue called Apology. And it sounds, what we think of the word apology, sounds like somebody's going to apologize for something, and they're sorry, and they want your forgiveness. But apology that we read first quarter is not an apology, but this actually comes from the Greek word apologia, which doesn't have that same meaning from the Greek, but this means a defense. Or if you're British, no, one of these two is British and one's English spelling. I forget which one. All right. None of them will get a red line though. A defense, which is interesting because it's almost the opposite of what, right, if you're apologizing, you know, you're contrite, you're coming to somebody or people to seek their forgiveness, but it's almost the opposite, right? If you come to somebody and say, no, I'm not wrong, and I'm going to explain to you why. Yeah? It literally is the opposite. So I'm not quite sure how, I don't know, I should look up the root of the word apology, meaning asking for forgiveness. But usually when you apologize, you shouldn't have a lot of, I'm sorry, but, you know, there shouldn't be a whole lot of that if you're really sorry. But I'd like to explain to you why you're wrong. I'll apologize, but I want to explain to you why you were wrong. That doesn't go over very well. But that's where this word, so apologetics or Christian apologetics refers to a defense of the faith. And there, Catholic apologetics, like Dr. Hahn, that's kind of his forte. And there are, no doubt, Baptist apologetics, and there are Muslim apologetics. And people who do this work are called apologists. Well, this is the singular. An apologist is someone who does this kind of work and research, and with faith, it would be some kind of theological work. So Dr. Hahn is an apologist for the Catholic faith. He writes about it, lectures about it, teaches about it in college classes. But sometimes you hear this term like, oh, well, that person, they're an apologist for the senator, or they're an apologist for the party. Yeah, they're an apologist for the president. They're an apologist for the congressman or congresswoman, meaning that they, no matter what they, maybe no matter what they do, but that they're always kind of coming to their defense. You may hear that term sometimes tossed around in political terms also. So it doesn't just have to do with faith. It doesn't just have to do with religion. Someone might be an apologist for something else that they believe in, and they have reasons for what they believe in, and they can express those somehow. Okay? So, as I said, let me say, what time is it, by the way?
8:58.
Oh, perfect. Listen, I don't know what your experience is in other theology classes, but I know that all of you are not Catholic, and that's just great. But if you are from a different denomination of Christianity, and you know that your church teaches something different about a certain topic we talk about, feel free, please, I'd like to know myself, and if you know why they teach that, it makes it even better. And if they don't know, maybe I'll ask you to find out why they teach that, so you can be an apologist for your own Christian beliefs. But please feel free, don't be like, don't have any inhibition about speaking up and telling me, well, I'm Methodist and we believe this or that, okay? That's fine. There'll be no, I don't know what your experience is. Sometimes people are a little bit, oh, well, I'm not Catholic, I can't speak up about this. Yes, please do. All right, okay. Well, if it's that late, I just better stop then. That was a good lecture. Good lecture. Glad I cleared up the whole board for that. Okay, so I'll put this, I'll send you the link for this if you're going to watch it later. There you go. And I got a book for you, all of you, and I have a place for you on the seating chart. So when you do return to class, then let me know, and I will get you your book and tell you where you're seating. Bye-bye.